Slitterhead promises fast-paced action, grotesque monsters, and a unique body-hopping mechanic. But does it deliver a gaming experience worth your time, or does it stumble under the weight of its own ambitions? Let's dive into this visually shocking but divisive title to see if it earns a place in your library, or your regrets list. A ghostly figure known as Night Owl emerges from the shadows, a mysterious ball of light capable of taking control of living beings. His journey begins in the body of a stray dog, haunted by a vision of the city burning and three monstrous figures at the heart of the destruction. As Night Owl navigates the city, his abilities gradually return, most notably the power to jump from consciousness to consciousness, seizing control of new hosts. Eventually, Night Owl discovers rare individuals who resonate with him, granting extraordinary strength, agility, and weaponry to combat the monstrous Slitterheads that lurk among the city's populace. Slitterhead doesn't hold back when it comes to its graphic nature. The game is filled with grotesque imagery, people torn apart by monsters, rivers of blood, and flesh distorted into horrific forms. Blood even becomes a weapon to fend off enemies. Early in the game, there's an explicit scene involving nudity and a very mature act, reinforcing the game's mature themes. This is undoubtedly a title best reserved for late night sessions, well after the kiddos went to bed. Night Owl's core mechanic involves possessing human bodies, turning them into vessels for combat and exploration. While in control, he can manipulate their blood into lethal weapons. The purpose of his mission is ambiguous at first. He only remembers the need to destroy Slitterheads, parasitic monsters disguised as humans. These beings secretly run the city's underworld, killing and devouring human brains. During his journey, Night Owl encounters Rarities, special individuals uniquely attuned to his presence. When he possesses a rarity, they gain enhanced abilities and weapons, making them essential for fighting Slitterheads. Missions grant skill points that can be used to enhance these rarities, improving health, weapon power, or other traits. Players can bring 2 rarities into each mission, allowing for creative synergy and skill combinations. Some missions, however, require specific rarities to progress. Between missions, players can engage in conversations with Rarities to unlock additional missions and delve into their backstories. While these interactions can be insightful, they are mandatory for progression, which may feel tedious to players who prefer more action over dialogue. Occasionally, you're given dialogue choices, breaking up the monotony and providing a semblance of control. Slitterheads are a diverse and grotesque threat, ranging from small worm-like creatures that swarm in numbers to larger monstrosities like bloodworms with legs. The most dangerous enemies, however, are the boss-like Slitterheads, which masquerade as humans before revealing their horrific true forms. These creatures adopt mantis-like, octopus-like, or even frogfish-like appearances, wielding claws and unleashing devastating area of effect attacks. Combat in Slitterhead revolves around adaptability. Whether controlling a rarity or a standard human, players can attack, block, and dodge. Night Owl's possession ability allows for seamless body switching mid-battle, briefly slowing time as you transfer. Rarities bring unique abilities to fights, like buffing attack power or unleashing black holes that pull enemies into clusters. Most skills consume health, or blood, but this can be replenished by absorbing blood pools left by defeated enemies. Perfectly timed blocks earn soul power, fueling other abilities. Death in combat doesn't mean the end, as Night Owl is ejected from a dying body and must quickly find another host. However, if you lose 3 bodies in one mission, or there are no other available hosts, it's game over, forcing you to restart from the last autosave point. The game alternates between investigative missions and battles. Many missions involve detective work, scanning areas, finding clues, and chasing Slitterheads across rooftops and streets. This often requires jumping between bodies to follow your target. Missions also hide collectibles like Night Owl's memories, unique fights, and encounters with an enigmatic old lady. Revisiting completed missions is sometimes necessary to uncover rarities or paths critical to advancing the story. While the city offers atmospheric settings including bustling markets and neon-lit streets, exploration feels restricted. Invisible walls or forced turnarounds prevent straying too far from the mission zone. Now that we've dissected the mechanics, story, and gameplay, what's the final verdict? Did Slitterhead's promise of action and horror live up to the hype? Or was it a misstep and a mediocrity? While we move forward to my final thoughts, don't forget to share what you think about the game or this review in the comments below. Slitterhead shines in its grotesque artistry. The cutscenes, especially the monsters' transformations, are beautifully horrifying. However, the in-game visuals don't maintain the same level of polish. The pool of human character models is small, making the non-story NPCs feel very repetitive. The story began with an intriguing premise involving time travel, supernatural beings, and an apocalyptic vision. Unfortunately, the plot became convoluted as it progressed, bogged down by its slow pace and abstract themes. Despite some promising twists, the payoff felt underwhelming. The combat is undeniably the game's strongest aspect. Body switching is seamless, and battles are challenging and engaging, but the game's slower sections, like walking, talking, and clue hunting, interrupt the momentum too often. The skill upgrades offer limited impact, and tankier late-game enemies shift the focus from action to more deliberate tactical gameplay. Ultimately, Slitterhead suffers from its sluggish pacing. After 4 hours, I had only defeated 20 Slitterheads, a pace that felt more like a confusing narrative game than an action-packed brawler. The Slitterhead had its moments, both highs and lows, but where does it ultimately land on the scale? Well, let's break it down with the numbers. The visuals of monster transformations were incredible, but the city design and NPCs were dull and repetitive. It's getting a 2. The story had a promising start with intriguing themes, but got bogged down by convoluted twists and pacing issues. That's another 2. The combat was fun and creative, but slow investigative sections and uninspiring upgrades hindered the overall experience. I'm handing out another 2. With little incentive to revisit missions or explore further, one playthrough is more than enough. That's a 1. The combat moments shined, but the game's slow pacing and repetitive tasks sapped a lot of the excitement. I'm going with another 2. Giving Slitterhead an average score of 1.8 out of 5. Earning it a spot on the bottom shelf. While its unique mechanics and bizarre story may appeal to some, I recommend waiting for a deep sale before picking it up. If you're curious, check out my live stream to see the game for yourself. If you want to check out other games, check out the lists over there, full of reviews I've done in the past. I know we can find a match for you.